Rose, my first question. I remember you were having some issues, I think, with your neck before your last fight, and you were recovering. So, if you just want to give us an update, is it 100% healed at this point?
My neck's feeling very strong. Yeah, I'm ready to fight.
And we talked a little bit about this earlier, but I think everybody was just sort of interested in how you took on a fight. As a champion, you kind of like had the prerogative and you could take the fight elsewhere, but you wanted to come to Brazil and fight here. So tell us a little bit about the reasoning and why you wanted to come fight here.
Yeah, this is the this place has so much fighting spirit, and it's the home base of MMA and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and it's really shaped my life. It saved my life, but it's also enhanced those lives around me, and yeah, I'm just truly grateful for this experience and this opportunity to come here and perform for these fans.
You did talk about earlier when people talked about the hostility, right? And everybody's just like the Brazilian crowd is hostile, and you were saying that you weren't really feeling that. So how has your experience been this far?
It's been beautiful. Obviously it's only been a couple days, so and there's always every place has its bad place. But so far I've experienced very beautiful people, very welcoming atmosphere. So I'm not worried about that. And I don't like when people call my fans hostile. So yeah, let's just stop that.
Is this your first time coming to Brazil?
This is my first time. Yeah.
People tend to treat fighters that come to their opponents' countries and all that differently. If you come to Brazil and beat Jessica, people would see that different than if Jessica went to the US to fight you. Did that come to your mind now as well when you decided to ask the UFC to come fight her here?
No, I think it's really hard not to be a fan of me and my style and the way that I fight. So, I think it's going to be a great show, and everybody's going to be very excited to see us both fight.
The original plan was to have this fight in the soccer stadium in Curitiba, more than 40,000 fans. Now they're fighting in Rio. Is that better for you to not have to deal with that, or were you pumped up for this experience to fight in the soccer stadium here?
Yeah, I always put a lot of pressure on myself. So like all the pressure from everybody else, like I mean that can have an effect on you. But if you're 100% ready and centered with yourself, it's only the voices inside your head that you have to fight. So I'm not worried about that. I just show up to where they tell me to fight, and I fight. And I've dealt with many. I mean, Madison Square Garden was pretty crazy, and at first I didn't think about that going into it. And then afterward, yeah, it was an awesome experience that I'll always be able to think about and hold dear to my heart. But leading up to it, I just focus on the task at hand, and that's it.
You're coming off 2 wins over Joanna, who beat Jessica in the past. How do you manage to don't get into your mind since she beats her when they fought?
I was just very confident in myself, and that doesn't happen overnight. Obviously we all have flaws. We're all human, but I make it a point to really work hard and just have confidence in myself and believe in myself.
Speaking of Joanna, I think we both know that she has that style of selling fights and of carrying herself, and she makes the whole situation a little bit more dramatic.
Yeah.
And Jessica, she's, as you could probably see, she's very laid back. She's always very respectful. Like she's not going to go talking things about you. So how different is it just having that lead up? Do you kind of welcome that this isn't like that this doesn't have any animosity?
Yeah, it's a refreshing feeling. I had to deal with Joanna for a very long time, and she's still even out there, still putting my name in her mouth, which is, I'm very grateful for that experience, and I'm even grateful for her as being as a dominant champion as she was. She did a lot for the sport, and so I'm always going to be grateful for that. But I'm also equally as grateful for opportunity to challenge myself against Andrade, because she poses a lot of other challenges that I didn't have to deal with Joanna. So I'm really just looking forward to it and figuring out and how to crack the code and come out with the win.
I think it's a time when people are really talking about being champions in two divisions. It's kind of like a trendy thing. Obviously, I think you're a small fighter for a strawweight. You're not that big. You're probably beyond your size at flyweight. But do you think about that at all? Is that a plan that you have? Maybe move up, get another belt, or do you intend on staying at strawweight?
I think about that, but I also think about, one day when I'm retired and all this, and what am I gonna do with my life and all this stuff. But I mean, those are all fun to think about. But it's not always about that. It's you always got to stay in the present moment. And right now, I'm here talking to y'all, and this is amazing. And then when I get back home, I'm just gonna get to work, and we'll come back.
And something else we talked about earlier, you being the underdog, I think some of it is probably style, right? And how you match up with Jessica, but like you're coming off 2 dominant wins over Joanna, and Jessica lost to her, and now here you are being the underdog. Do you feel like people maybe overlook you a bit as a champion, and does that bother you at all?
That's probably true. But I don't look at it that way. I always, in my own head, I view myself as the favorite because. I just have that much confidence in myself, and I know what I'm capable of. And, I think we each have our game plan and stuff like that. And I believe mine is better than hers, and I believe May 11th is going to show.
You talk at the pressure about the kind of the strategy, then dropping her and choking her out. Is that just like your strategy going into this fight specific for her, or just your mindset going to any fight?
Every fight is like that. I mean, if you look at most of my wins are that way, and even the ones that maybe didn't have that particular outcome, I still was trying to do that every time, and that's not going to change. And no matter who's standing in front of me, even it's a game of who can impose their will, and that's going to be me.
Just one last thing for me. I think one of the reasons I remember there was the whole drama with McGregor and the whole thing, and then you went through fight week, you did your thing, and still I think afterwards, maybe because you're so you seem to wear your heart on your sleeve, at least publicly. You talk about you're very open and I guess sensitive, and you talk about these things very openly, right? And I think that people might sometimes misconstrue that for maybe fragility. Do you kind of feel that maybe people overlook how tough you are, and did you kind of get a sense of that, and maybe did you prove otherwise by taking this fight in Brazil?
I'm just honest about my feelings at all times, and so I fluctuate in how I feel. And right now, I feel very strong. I've put the past behind me, and really looking forward to May 11th.
Ivana had this aggressive behavior towards you before the fight, and instead doesn't all that. And Jessica is more friendly. She's always smiles and all that. Is it better to fight someone like her instead of someone who's going to try to get in your head all the time?
I don't value. It's like every fight is like having multiple children. It's like you don't pick a favorite. You know what I mean? So for me, every fight is the next biggest challenge, the next biggest thing. And obviously, I've never fought anybody like her before, and she's never fought anybody like me. And so that's what I have to focus on, and I have to put in the work and believe in myself, and I'll do it.
When you think about this fight playing out, like, do you have an idea of, obviously you always do kind of have a strategy, but do you have an idea of, based on your styles, how you think this one's going to play out?
Punch them in the face, take their back, and choke them out. That's, I pretty much, it's all right there. It's just, it's different when you're standing in front of somebody, and that's, that's what it's going to come down to.
Did you do any specific work in terms of strength? Because we were talking about how strong she is. Did you do anything on that end to kind of counter that, or is it something that you're not really factoring that much in your preparation?
I'm factoring everything. I'm sure that she brings more to the table than just strength. Obviously that's one of her strong attributes, but I bring a lot of strength to the table as well. And at the same time, there's more to it than just being strong. And so, I pay attention to that, but I also pay attention to everything. And I'll be the more dynamic, well-rounded fighter in this fight.
It's been a while since your last fight. Do you have a timetable in your head? So of course you have this fight against ahead of you, but do you have a mindset? Okay, I want to win this fight and then get back on track as soon as possible. Maybe fight July, August. You have that in your mind?
That would be awesome, But at the same time, like I said, I take every, I stay in the present moment, and right now, I have Jessica in front of me, so that's what I'm focused on.
Rose, and being the underdog against a challenger, it kind of motivates you even more to prove them wrong, or you don't pay attention in this stuff?
Yeah, I've said this before, where I always consider myself to be the favorite, no matter what. And I've been the favorite before, and it hasn't changed. What the media does and everything like that, that's their job, and they have to create a story about everything. But for me, my job is to stay centered and to focus on what I know. And I know that I'm the best, and that's what it's going to be.
And what exactly do you know about Brazilian culture besides fighting?
So we went to Brazilian Steakhouse last night. That was amazing, very delicious. I know that, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is very big here. Capoeira, everything like that. I really love the culture here. Everybody's very just beautiful and awesome.
Do you pretend to come a little bit sooner to acclimate with the weather and all this stuff?
No, I really enjoy the humidity here. We live in Colorado, where it's very dry, very high altitude. I'm really looking forward to getting here. But at the same time, I feel like when you're 100% ready, you don't need to acclimate. You've already done that, and so I'll get here at whatever time the UFC needs me here.
Ronda Rousey was one UFC champion that came to Brazil to fight against a Brazilian, and she got back to America like an idol. Brazilian fans loved her, even she beating Betty Correia. At any point, do you pretend to gain some fans here in Brazil?
I think I always gain fans everywhere I go. All of my performances, the ones that I've won, the ones that I lost, it's always been a constant growth in my fan base. I'm very grateful for that. I know that it's easy to hate people. It's easy to nobody's perfect. But that's what I hope to do. I want to use martial arts to bring people together, not to divide people and pin each other against each other. Even though we fight, and, that's the sport. But at the end of the day, we can shake each other's hands and hopefully, everything is good.